All right, let's finish this assignment for the week. It should be quick. All you have to do is paint. So if you have something model, you can do the UVs by yourself, like how you learned last week. Or you can use this model I emailed you. If you can see the UVs of it, they're already done, they're already laid out, so you don't have to do them. If you open the UV editor, see everything's there, and that's important for Substance Painter, which we'll be using. The other thing is when you take your model to Substance Painter, it separates the model according to materials. So if I turn off the forcing the gray texture up here and turn on the materials, is this one right here. There's two materials here, the yellow and the white, and there's I think one for the face mask and the eyes. So Substance Painter is gonna separate the model or how you can paint the model according to the materials you have. Let me fix this. Just paint this face back to white. So I have metal white. It's just a Lambert, I think. And there it is. So I can save this, and you can use this model. You just have to remember that Substance Painter is going to separate the object by material. So if I look at the list of materials here, if I open the Hyper Shader, it's this little blue sphere with the white dot. You will see all the materials in my scene, and actually, if you right click on the materials here, there's the list of them. You can say select objects with material, and it will select them. Like, let me force the gray color here. See, selecting everything with the yellow. If I select this one, select object with materials, I'll select everything that has the white material. This is the lenses. Select object with materials. There it is. And I'm not sure which one it is. I think it's this one that might be the mask. Nope, it's this one. What can I know? Oh, there it is. Select object. There it is. All right, so we have 4 materials pretty much. So Substance Painter is gonna separate it on that. According to that, all we have to do is just send this to Substance Painter. How do we do that? We select the object. You don't need lights or anything else, just your object, and say File, Export Selection, and you need to look for FBX. You might not see it here, you just have to scroll down all the way to the bottom. Sometimes there's FBX export. If you don't see the FBX option, you have to go to Windows. Oh, I guess I can't do it now, but let me put export this really quick. Just in case you don't see the option there, you need to go to Windows, Settings and Preference, Plugin Manager, and type in here FBX. There it is. So if these are not turned on, make sure you put the check mark so you can export FBX. And now we'll open Substance Painter. And Substance Painter is a little bit different. You don't really import the file or create a new file. I will show you here in a second how it works. It asks you to create a template, so it's asking you which software you're going to use after you are done painting. So I'm going to say close to this home screen, and we're going to say File, New, and in here is where you're going to import the object. So see, here's our template. What are you taking this object afterwards? Are you taking it back to Blender? Are you taking it back to Keyshot? In Maya we have Arnold, so if we wanted to use Arnold afterwards, we would pick Arnold in here. I think it's in here somewhere. Well, we can change it afterwards when we're ready to export, but you can also use one of this metallic roughness. This will do the same thing actually. I'm wondering why I don't see Arnold here right away. PBR, Unreal. Well, anyway, we can change it afterwards. But the other thing you want to do is pick your resolution. So how big is your texture going to be? It's easier to start big, and then you can always reduce the size rather than the other way around. And then we just have to select our file. So mine is on the desktop, so where is it? There it is. We'll say open. We're gonna preserve the UVs. Click OK, and it's gonna take a second and load. This had 4 legs. I just deleted the other 3, so I just have to do 1. But basically, if you look in here, you have the material. See, it's separating the object by material. So we have to remember that there's the white material. Here's the PVR shader, which is the mask, and we should have the glasses here. There it is. Okay, so just remember that. So when you're painting, you have to make sure you're painting the right thing. So when you open Substance Painter, you will see a library on the right hand usually, or sorry, on the left hand. If you don't see everything like this, you can say Windows and Reset UI. It should make it back to default. If you mouse over here and navigate, it will be just like in Maya, so Alt and drag to rotate, Alt and right drag to zoom in and out, and the mouse wheel also to zoom in and out, and Alt and click and drag on the middle mouse button to pan. Exactly the same that in Maya. Now you'll see layers in here, and this works just like in Photoshop. So you can paint right away on this layer. If you look down, the color of the layer will be down here. So there's white. So I could just paint white, but I have to pay attention that what am I painting? So if you remember, I just told you you need to be on the right material. So if I wanted to paint that material that was the metal white, I will select it. I have this layer, and you can see the UVs here showed up for me. So if I change the color now to something different, I can start painting on the white material, right? But the magic of Substance Painter is that you have these materials in here that have the attributes already hooked up to them. So if you look at, let's say you wanted to make this robot carbon fiber, we'll put it on the, let's put it on the yellow material. So let me just select it here. So say metal yellow, metal yellow. So we'll put it on it. We can just put it right on the layer here, on the layers. So it fills up that layer or that material with the material I grabbed from here. So, you know, it has a bump map, it has the color map, and you can actually look at them in here. So if you click right here, you'll see the base color. There's that color there. You can see the metallic, which is how shiny it is. Roughness, if it's smooth or rough. Then normal map. This is like a second version of the bump map. It has these colors that tell the lights how to cast shadows better and simulate detail when there's nothing there. Height map is what you would use for a bump map, but it looks like it's blank in here. So you can look at all these maps in here. Also in this side you see the UVs, so you can paint in here or on the UVs. If the UVs are bugging you, you can just hit F2 and it will be just the model. F1 will bring back the UVs, or F3 will be just the UVs. Let's go back to material here. So we'll go back to normal. Before we start though, we want to do something. So let me just delete this layer. We want to bake the maps that we're going to use. So I'm gonna hit F2 here, and if you look on the top corner, there's this croissant referencing baking, I guess. So we're going to bake the materials we want to paint on. So if you click on this, it will show the list of materials I had that I brought from Maya, and it will ask me what maps I want to use. So the normal map, we do want that one. It's very good for video games. World space normal, we can take that off. ID just separates the object by by mesh, and you can do mesh ID and I'll separate it by mesh. Ambient occlusion, it just makes darker the areas that receive less light. So if you take your model to an engine, a game engine, and it looks too washed out on the shadows, you can use the ambient occlusion map to make those areas darker. Curvature, I think that's good for corners and indents that you can apply masks to, and I'll show you how to use those in a minute. Position, I will turn that off. So we have thickness, I don't think we need that. We'll use height, which is the old bump map is called height now, and it can be used as a displacement, meaning if you take it to Maya or Blender, you can use it to actually move points around on the surface. Instead of simulating that you have detail there, it would actually move the points around on your model. It will create points on it too. So we want that for all of them. So we'll say bake selected textures, and it will start going one by one. You'll see it here going through the maps. So it's baking them. This helps us put the our painting looks better when we do this. So we just have to give it a minute. You can see the progress bar down here. It has to go through all 4 materials that we created, and then we'll be ready to paint. So once you do this, you know, the painting will be fairly quick, and that's the magic of it. So you paint with an active material instead of just a plain color. You paint with a material that has the reflectivity of, let's say you pick aluminum, and it will look like aluminum. Somebody took the time to measure how reflective aluminum is and how smooth the surface is. So you won't have to think about any of that. You just put it on. It looks like it's done. So great. So we can go back to painting, and now we can just now that we're baked, we can start throwing materials in here. So you will see in here this little key, or yours might show all at once, but there's materials, smart masks, and filters and brushes and alphas. There's a bunch of stuff here, but let's start with materials. So materials, oops, I don't know what I changed it to. Materials, there it is. So in here, let's say we wanted that metal material. Metal, there's a couple options. There's actually a yellow one here, so I can actually put it on my metal yellow. So I'll drag it and just dump it on it. You see how it's selecting just the yellow material that I had in Maya. It thinks for a second, and it applies the yellow color. So that's pretty easy. It's pretty nice. You can modify the material if you scroll down here. You'll see a bunch of sliders. You'll have to play with them. So this is metal roughness, how smooth the surface is. And so you can see it changing. So scratches intensity is all the way up. I don't want to really make those weaker. So let's add a material to, well, the point of this Substance Painter is that you can paint just like in Photoshop, besides having a material with all the attributes like base color, metallic reflection, roughness. You can see the scratches in there, they're white. The normal map, which says how bumpy it is. Besides having all that, is that this works just like Photoshop. So let's say we wanted to add rust. So here there's another material that has rust. So if I put it right on top, now my whole thing is rusty, right? And it might be a little too much. You can make it smoother here if you play with the roughness. But this, the idea is that you paint just like in Photoshop and you can mask things. So I could create a new mask in here, and you can add a black mask or a white mask. So a black mask would hide everything on that layer. So if you paint, or sorry, if you select add black mask, you'll see the layer now has a black mask, so it's completely hidden. And right here it says grayscale. So if I paint with white, I'm making that mask white in certain areas. So let's say we paint here, we'll paint rust in. you know, so we can paint some rust. And maybe you could pick a better brush. Oh, I don't know, maybe this one, you know. I don't know, it's kind of crazy. Anyway, you can take your pick here and look through things. But you are painting the mask, you have a material in there, it's invisible until you paint on the mask. You could, let me just remove the mask. You could do it the other way, so you add a white mask, you know, and the layer's still there, but when you paint now, you'll be hiding parts of the layer, so part of the material, okay? So that's the magic of it, besides adding material. So if you look in here, besides materials, there's smart materials. So I'm going to open smart materials in here. And the difference with them is that I have two materials combined in here. If I pick a smart material in here, it'll have already a bunch of materials combined together. So what I'm going to do is select my metal white here. It says I just have the one layer there with nothing on it. And I can throw any of this in here. Let's pick this red aluminum. Let's see how it looks. And just dump it in there. So you see a folder in here. And if you open the folder, you'll see there's a bunch of materials inside of it. Let me just make this window bigger. So there's the red color. There's this, the dust. It's just a little bit of dust. And this one's fairly simple. It just has two materials, two materials on it with a mask, you know. So you can use smart materials, and the way to work with this is you select the first, turn them all off, I guess, or leave the bottom one on. You select it, and you can adjust this one. So this is tiling, how much is repeating. So you can move it a bit, and it'll repeat more. I think we have to unlock it. No, that's it. It's kind of hard to tell. Anyway, you can rotate the material if it has some tiling. So and down here's your base color. So let's say I didn't want it red, I want it blue. I can switch it over. Here's your metallic, how metallic it is. So if you don't want it too reflective, you can bring it down to grayish, and you'll see it's less and less reflective as I go. The normal map is already there. The height map is already there. Those are kind of hard to mess around with, but let's add the dust now. There's our dust, you know, and you can keep going up. Some of these materials will have a bunch of properties on it. So now let's add a mask in here. So there's smart mask that will do different things. So this one, it does cavity rust. So it will look for indents or things like that, and it will put rust on them. That's not that great. So, oh, it's actually pretty good, but you need a material below it to show something better in here. So let me just delete this one, and let's add, let's see. So some of this will look for corners and edges to put the wear and the dust on them. Edge 30, fabric edge over edges. Let's see what happened with that. Oh, I just wear out the edges. So you can experiment with this and play, you know, it's pretty simple. Or you can go by hand in here and add a new layer and just paint. If you, let's see, come on. If you look down here, you can play the color. You can paint your own metal textures or your own roughness. You just have to turn this on. You'll see it shows up down here. Or if you don't want it, you can turn it off. But let's say you wanted to paint some red in it. You know, now you can paint on that layer on top and you're good to go. So that's the magic of Substance Painter. So all you have to do is paint your own model or this robot that I sent you. Once you're done painting, all you have to do is say File, Export Textures. And we need to look for our where is it going to save? So right here, it's going to an Adobe Substance folder. You can look for a different folder here if you click on it. Let's say desktop, and we make a new folder here called Substance Painting or Substance Robot. Now we'll put all the materials in it because it will have all those these four materials. Each one of them will have all those properties we picked. So right now it's set to Amazon Lumberyard. We'll pick Arnold. There it is, Arnold. I know it was in here somewhere. So Arnold, and it's gonna save the base color, metalness, roughness, normal, height. Emissive, I don't have anything that emits light, so I'm gonna turn that off. And I think that's good. So we just pick the template for Arnold, list of export, because it's going to Maya. If we were going to Unreal, you would pick it from here, or Unity, you know. So we'll go list of export. So see for the glass, the glass shouldn't have all those, but that's okay. Metal white, metal yellow, open PBR shader. That's the mask. We'll say export. Now it will export all those materials and put them on your model. No, well, you had to hook it up and put it on your model. This is really easy to do in a game engine like Unreal or Unity. And Maya is a little trickier. But once this is done, I think it's done. Yeah, it's done. Okay, so once this is done, open output directory. You can look at it in here, and you'll see all your maps for everything you painted. I would recommend you also export the mesh from here, because Substance is a little bit different with UV, so I would export it from here. You can say export mesh and put it on the same folder. You can make, typically when you send a quad model to a game engine, it turns every quad into 2 triangles. For modeling, it's a lot easier to use quads, but in a game engine, it'll typically replace those quads for triangles. So we work with quads, the engines work with triangles. Messing around with triangles is really hard, so that's why we don't do it. So you can say apply triangulation or turn it off if you don't want it. And then you export your model to that folder. Desktop, Substance Robot, where is it? There it is. Save. There it is. That's it. You're done for the week. Well, actually, I want a picture of this. So if you want to, I say for you guys are online, I say you just take a screen capture like this. So you click on the snipping tool, or look for it if you're in Windows. Snipping tool. Then you'll see this show up. You can take a picture or record a video. A picture will be fine. When you click on new, it'll give you this option. You just highlight the area you want to capture, save it and send it to me, and you're done for the week. Okay, if you have any questions or problems, please let me know.